High road roaring every night. Spotlight on Spurs, feel the fight. Spotlight on Spurs, hearts ablaze through the cheers and cloudy days. From the lane to glory's flight. Spotlight on Spurs, shine so bright. Echoes rise when we take the field. This is passion, nothing concealed. Through the tackles, joy ignites. Spotlight on Spurs, burning lights. Feel the tempo, sweet and wild. London's warriors never mild. Every challenge we endure. Spotlight on Spurs, loud and pure.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode on Spotlight on Spurs. Guys, you'll notice today that we have, or we haven't, shall I say, we don't have Chris with us. And as I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, he's so loyal, like Sonny, that even when you want him to go, he don't go. Well, he's just had a baby girl, so congratulations to him. He's done the wrong thing. He's obviously not got his priorities sorted, nor is his wife, because why is she planning to have a baby so close to a show? I have no idea. However, replacing him, we do have someone who's making their debut on the channel. So a massive, massive welcome and thank you to Tottenham Logic TV. Alan, how are we doing, sir?
Good, mate. Really good to be on. Really excited. I know we didn't win today, but next time I can't come on, next time would be better. But we're excited to be on. I'm honoured to be on, mate, to be honest.
No, thank you very much for coming on. Unfortunately, Nige and Elijah have been on the channel before and they completely understand that we do no guarantees of wins around here. There is no guarantees of wins whatsoever. No. Nige, thank you again for coming on, returning to the show. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Thank you for having me. And yeah, big up, guys. Big up, chat. Loving the intro. Very Westlife.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take it. I done the old AI. It's not me. It's not my voice.
Gotta be done.
So had to absolutely be done. And then last but not least, my man Elijah. How are we doing? I see your stream earlier. You was a little deflated. How you feeling? How you feeling now?
I feel devoid of energy, man. I can't say I'm as much of a fan of the intro as Nige's, but I appreciate a good intro nowadays, especially since I don't use StreamYard. But I am honored to be on the channel. I appreciate the invitation. Glad to have the Spurs talk to you guys, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, let's just big up. We are shit.
Not here, Ronnie.
Big up, Ronnie. We're not going to disagree with you just yet. We're not going to disagree with you probably at all. But big up to you. Thanks for coming in. Big up, Paul G. Evening. So obviously we have just had the Bayern game. A little bit down, a little bit depressed. However, let's be a little bit more negative and let's go and start with the huge news that we all knew was coming, but still hit absolutely crazy. Sonny leaving. If that wasn't enough, we kind of come to the realization he's leaving, he's going, and then out of nowhere, Tottenham dropped the interview. Unbelievable scenes. And then I think it was a few minutes later, dropped another part of it. The group chats in Spurs began absolutely crazy. People, grown men have been crying. What are your thoughts? Alan, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts around the whole situation, the interview, Sonny, that sort of thing?
Mate, I'm a grown man, and it really hit me. It hit me hard. Like, I knew he was going. Like, we all knew. We knew his time was up. But when it actually happened, it was like a dagger to the heart. And especially when he's done that video and he's done that thank you to everyone. He's done his picture and said you're always going to be in the frame. And I was like, oh man, I need to go get a tissue or something. It was heartbreaking to see, but we knew it was his time. What a man, though. Let me just add this as well. He could have gone to Barcelona next season on a free. They offered him. He said no. He said, I want Tottenham to get a fee. He also said that he didn't want to be a burden, which I didn't think he would have been a burden. But he said, I don't want to be a burden to Spurs. I want them to get some money from me. All he was ever doing all the way through was thinking about Tottenham. He's Mr. Tottenham. He's Tottenham through and through. 100%.
Yeah, completely agree. I don't know whether anyone follows me on X. If they don't, come on. But that was one of the things I mentioned straight away is listening to that interview. It was almost like he was saying, I'm really sorry and I hope you're not disappointed in me. And it's like, sorry, what? Spurs fans be disappointed in Son after all of the loyalty and everything. And then the last thing, delivering a trophy and then going and getting a fee. Absolutely crazy, but just shows the kind of the what the man's like in my eyes. So completely agree. Nige, was you on the crying club or was you on the this is only football club?
I was kind of in between. I was very much like, listen, Sonny's been a great servant, but it is time to go. You have been regressing for a couple of years, but I was similar. I was fact when I saw the interview, I was like, oh, that hit me a little bit. But then I was very quickly like, yeah, but he has to go. Time to move on. You know, we need as a club to move on. No player, no manager is ever bigger than the badge on the shirt. But 100%, he's been an absolute legend to this club. Amazing player, and it's sad to see him go. But yeah, it is time to move on.
Yeah, I think we probably most people probably agree. I do think I think Alan's right. I think with Frank's tactics, I think he could have offered something next year. However, it would never have been the level of Sonny. We all know what Spurs are like. We hold on to players for far too long, then they start getting a little bit worse. Their rep gets worse, everything else. So I completely agree. Although it was slightly emotional. Elijah, what was your thoughts on Sonny's departure and that beautifully put video?
Well, there were no tears shed. I will say that. It's just a football thing for me. Fair. But it's just football for me, and like Son, obviously a legend, deserves a statue, all the above. But yeah, like it was his time to go, isn't it? It's just one of the ones. His performances, he's obviously been declining with age, and there's been a couple injuries that has kind of plagued him. And obviously, a few years ago when he played through the hernia through the whole season, that doesn't help. I think he's had some back issues that doesn't help when you're playing through these injuries. So yeah, I respect Son. I respect the loyalty that he has. Especially in today's game, it's a lot rarer to see the type of loyalty that Son has showed. So he definitely deserves all that stuff, 100%. But I can't say I shed any tears. I was emotional. I don't even know if I was emotional, to be fair. Maybe I'm a psycho. I don't know. But I did feel for him watching it because you can't see a grown man cry and not feel something. You know, so I definitely felt something, but at the end of the day, it's football. We still have a season to play. We still have a Super Cup in 6 days. We got to figure out what's happening at the club. You know, we're all still Spurs fans, so we can appreciate the moment, appreciate the legend that he is, but we have games coming up, so
yeah,
can't stay here.
Yeah. I definitely feel like we're quite an emotional fan base, to be honest with you. We kind of like. It's a really weird kind of fan base to be in. Now, other fan bases might be like it as well, but I have a feeling that we do fall in love with weird sort of players, or like the amount of stuff that goes wrong at this club with certain players, what they do, but they just seem to hold a certain love. Lamella being a prime example. Lamella was a huge money signing at the time. He didn't really deliver too much on the pitch, but he seems to just be loved. The Rabona against Arsenal, etc. So we are quite an emotional fan base. I like it, but you're right. Personally, I think it was right. It was time to move on. We needed something new, but we will come on to it a little bit later, whether or not there's going to be a Sonny replacement. We'll just quickly go to the chat. I've noticed a few similar names in. Big up, guys. Razzle Dazzle, evening all. Milton's here yet again. What a great panel. The fantastic. I completely agree. I mean, we've pulled together some stars. I'm here as well. We've pulled together some stars. Hope you do, Nige. Oh well, PSG are going to batter us. We're going to come into that. We're going to park the Bayern stuff. We're going to go over that in a little while because there's some other stuff, guys. As everybody knows by now, all of the links for everyone will be in the description. I think this might be one of the first times where we've actually got 4 YouTubers all on together with no one that's not a YouTuber. So make sure you sub in, make sure you go into everyone. even if you don't agree with their opinions, if you can't watch them, that's absolutely fine. There's so many in this fan base. Please just like and sub to as many people as you can. Elijah didn't buy any of the Sonny Levy merch. Then. I mean,
Nah,
Spurs,
didn't.
like we did it. We don't miss a trick, do we? Like the guy literally signed
Crazy,
for another
innit?
club, and then we're running out merch like there's no tomorrow. Although talking of Sonny merch, their new kit, the kit for LA Galaxy, the
Nice.
black one, is very, very nice. And it's
Yeah, it looks
weird
good.
that I might buy
Yeah.
a Sonny kit for the first time ever. Now he's just gone to another club. But DHgate, you might see my custom. You might see my custom. Talking of interviews, Daniel Levy, he brought out his own interview this week. We were a little bit late to the party, but we only stream once a week. So we are going to just quickly run over some of the old stuff that's gone on this week just to get people's views. There's a few takeaways. Some fan base are absolutely fuming with it. Others are saying, "What was you expecting?" The don't get involved in transfers for me was a particular talking point. But have you seen it? We'll start with E this time. Have you seen it? And was there any specific takeaways that you had from it?
Well, I've seen the clips on Twitter. You know what it is when I seen that interview was like 30-something minutes. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, how much Daniel Levy content can I consume in one go? And yeah, the answer is barely any. So I trusted Twitter to clip up the most important bits, and I just went on a clip watch fest, and I just basically I gathered what I needed to gather. Just more of Daniel Levy just doing what Daniel Levy does in it, just saying. I mean, one thing I'll give Levy credit for is that he's very slick when he says stuff. Like he's never said an out and out lie that I've really caught, but he'll slick talk it to where it's like it can mean several things. So he hasn't ever outright lied. So when Levy's like, if he wants to win, like let's say like his quote of wanting to win, and if when he don't win it hurts him and stuff like that. I'm sure it hurts, but like when we as fans say it hurts, and when Levy says it hurts, it's not the same hurt. It's the same word, but it's not the same meaning. So it's just little slick things like that where it's like, on paper it's the right thing to say, but we've seen this so many times. So I'm not trusting it.
I feel like it was really quite rehearsed, and I know when he talks, he does talk with a certain. There's a certain authority there in terms of what he says, but it feels to me that he's not comfortable on the camera. It feels like he's more comfortable being in the background. No one really knows, because obviously we've had so long with him not hearing. For him to do 2 interviews in what would be a few months I just feel like the more we see of him, the more comfortable you might get, because he seems quite withdrawn and everything else. But yeah, I agree. Nothing you can say is out and out a factual lie. Your opinion might be completely different to what he's telling you, but I completely agree with you on that. Nige, did you have any more takeaways?
I thought it was very staged, to be honest. But you know what? It felt a little bit like, look what we've got. Look at everything we've got. Look at everything I've built. I'm just amazing. But I hate Levy with a passion. But I got to admit, I was watching it thinking, I'd go for a pint with you. I'm liking what you're saying. I'd go for a pint. And that's what he does. He's good with his words. He pulls you in. But yeah, I think it was very staged, and he kind of got what he wanted from it.
I'll tell you what, you've just made me think of a question though. You went with a pint with Daniel Levy. Do you reckon he'll pay?
No.
Good. At least we all agree on that one. Alan, what was your takeaways?
I agree with the boys. He's a bit of a politician when he answers his questions. So he says a lot without really saying anything.
Yeah.
So basically, he's trying to tell you something, but he's leaving the door open for the answer at the same time. It's a really good tactic, because then no one can hold him accountable to anything, can they? Mm-hmm. And when he says things like it hurts, the only thing it hurts is his bank balance. I don't think it hurts him at all. I don't believe half the words he said anymore. I never used to get on his case years ago. I used to just crack on with the team and the players and ignore him most of the time. But remember years ago, people saying Levy needs to come out and speak more. We need to hear from him. And now he has. Everyone saying, Levy, I don't want to hear from you. You're a liar. So he can't win either way anyway.
100%.
Yeah, he's just hard to believe now because his actions never match what he's saying, and technically he's not really saying anything. So what actions is he supposed to have? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, 100%. It's a lot of words, but as you said, the actions is probably where people don't believe him specifically, because it's like you're saying about the whole don't put a time on anything, don't actually commit to anything. I want to win the Champions League and Premier League. That's the aim. There was no within 10 years, within 15 years. It was just a lot of words with no real substance. And
nothing was definitive. Nothing was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, we don't know when this is supposed to be in play, so therefore you can't really criticize. Like, say for instance, he said within 5 years, everyone will be going transfer window. You haven't done it. You're not going to do it. You've obviously lying. But he might have been in 15 years. It might have been in 20 years. We've got no idea.
Exactly.
So loads of words, but no real substance. So. Yeah, as you can tell, he didn't really miss much, mate. We've covered it in a few minutes. So, moving on. Obviously, again, news that we was probably expecting, or most of the fan base was expecting, but Maddison news has been confirmed now. Me and E had a bit of a chat about it earlier on in the week, but we wasn't expecting it to be formalised. I don't think many was expecting it to be that long. It's rumoured to be like 6 to 7 months, so probably coming back towards the end of the season. However, with these sorts of injuries, it does normally take double the amount of time for players to get back to the levels that they had previously. So we could be looking at a year to 18 months for Maddison to get back to those levels. Elijah, we'll start with you just on the basis that I know you've already got your thoughts and feelings on Maddison lined up, because we spoke about it on another show recently. But what are your thoughts on the Maddison injury and where we go from here, sort of thing?
Sorry,
It looks like his prime.
Oh, good.
Elijah.
Sorry. It looks like his prime is over. That's what it looks like. I think his prime as a footballer is pretty much done. It's a sad way for his prime to end, but by the time he gets back, he's going to be like 31, 32. And the way Maddison's problem already is the motor. Like, not that he doesn't work hard, but he can't last at 90, and then he's constantly picking up injuries, or he can't fully perform all the time, which is understandable in some footballers. But when you have the quality, you can overcome that. The problem with people like Maddison is your prime starts to wear out early 30s, and with an ACL injury, that's just going to plummet everything, because I don't think Maddison is the type of player to come back from the ACL and then put in the extra work needed to get back to what he was doing at his peak. So I think Maddison will come back and still be a valuable option, but not valuable enough to where he should be one of the most important players in the team. I think he'll probably give some quality minutes to another team, because I don't think he'll have really a spot in 2 years at Spurs when he's back to his best. It's unfortunate, but these things happen. It's not his fault. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he intentionally got himself injured. But at this time and point, as much as I like Maddison, he's got to be moved on. I don't know who will buy him, because it's just tore his ACL. But when he does come back, hopefully he can play himself into a bit of form and we can sell him for some type of money.
Yeah, Nige, what are your thoughts on the Maddison injury? Is that the kind of, can you see it being the end of the start of the end for Maddison?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Elijah. I think it's the start of the end for him. I think he's a great player, one of my favourite Spurs players, but this is a serious injury, and he's injury prone anyway. A lot of people call him a third, don't they? 'Cause he's plays for a third of the season, he's out for the third of the season, the rest of the time he's missing. And I just think I kind of agree with what Stel said when he said, get him fit for next season, then sell him. I think now we maybe need to move on from him, get someone younger, better, and someone who's going to play every week. You look at our best sides over the years, when we had Ericsson, played nearly every game, and you just go through teams. Modric played nearly every game for Spurs, hardly missed a game. And Maddison just misses too much. So It's a real sad day for me, because I was really hoping Maddison would step up this year. And, I think he's been held back the last couple of years under Ange, and I was looking forward to seeing what he could do. But, I think it's a beginning and the end for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it did seem that a lot of the fan base were kind of saying that potentially it's his last hurrah at Spurs. It didn't quite work under Ange. His numbers were okay, but was he consistent enough? Is he the player to go to the next level with Spurs? And then all of a sudden he's had this, and it's like, as that last chance been taken away from him before he's able to kind of impact it himself. Alan, what are your thoughts on the injury?
Yeah, well, it was inevitable, wasn't it? Because even when he was at Leicester and he first signed for Spurs, a lot of Leicester fans were coming to me saying, good luck getting him on the pitch, because he missed so many games for them as well. He was always injury prone. So this year, we knew coming into the season, he was eventually going to get injured. We already knew Kulu was injured, and we've done nothing about it. Our most important player is Maddison going forward. He links everything. When he does play, and remember, a lot of the times he only gets 60 minutes per game, or he's coming on at the end after an injury or whatever. If you actually add up his minutes to his goals and assists, is actually superb. He's actually really good, but he's just hardly ever available. And he's not the type of player either to come back from an injury and hit the ground running. It takes him ages, even from a normal injury, to get up to speed. So from this injury, he's going to be heading towards his 30s. I agree with the boys. I think this is it for him now. I don't think he's going to play at this level for much longer, because especially if he comes back from that injury and then gets injured again, because it's the same knee as last time.
Yeah,
it's the same knee. So he's done it twice. So imagine the paranoia going through him now, coming back from injuring it twice, being out for 18 months, and then worrying again whether he's going to injure it again. I just don't see him being able to come back from this now. If he did, great. But we knew this was going to happen at some point. We knew it, and we haven't done nothing about it.
Yeah. And obviously it happened to Bentancur. Bentancur done his ACL, and normally what happens with these sorts of injuries, even when they, as I said, they get back, they pick up little niggles, they pick up little bits and pieces. And if he was picking them up previously, then it could mean that that's going to go to a complete new level. So it is disappointing. We are going to go into transfers in a little while, so we'll discuss about the whole we needed to send, do we need to sort of thing in a little while. But you did mention about being an important player, and Frank in a recent interview said that he thinks Ben Davies is going to be an important player, and we don't need any more fullbacks. Now, I've been saying it in a jokey way, but I've been saying it to some people that if Ange would have said this, there would have been uproar absolutely everywhere. However, because it's Frank, it's kind of accepted. But Nige, could we go into a Premier League season with Ben Davies potentially being our second choice left back?
Well, we are, aren't we? So, yeah.
Well,
obviously,
we've still got a few weeks. Come on, we've still got a week or so before we can get.
I just don't think we're in. I don't think we're in for a left back. I really don't. I think he's happy that Spence. I think Spence is our best left back. So I think Spence and Udogie are left backs. I think obviously Spence can cover at right back as well. The problem is if we do get one or two injuries at full back. But Davis is a difficult one because yes, he's not good enough. Yes, he's getting on. But he's always done okay. You know, he's done okay. And listen, even the best sides in the leagues, championship winning sides, have squad players that are okay. You know, John O'Shea, how many championship titles did he win with United? He was nothing special. You know, I think every team needs a few players that give you a 6 out of 10 every game. And Davis does that. Do I want him anywhere near the side? No. But as a squad player, here's what it is. Is one more year.
I think
I'm
if
not
he
really
was
overly fussed.
If he was like third choice, then I think everyone would be like, okay. But when you've got Udogie, who is, let's say, injury prone, or he likes an injury, shall we say, there's quite a reasonable expectation that actually there will be moments in games where Udogie cannot play, whether that be from injuries or physically just playing every single game. And then you know that you're then going into a situation where Ben Davies becomes your first team player. And obviously last year, Porro didn't miss a game. So the likelihood of him catching some sort of injury, I'm obviously not wishing injury upon anyone, but players don't tend to play every single game, every single season. So Spence is also going to be needed the other side. But the one thing you did say is, but if we don't get injuries, and Spurs don't pick up injuries, so yeah, I agree with you, Nige. Let's go with that.
But the thing is, quickly, I was just going to say, before tonight's game, I was actually thinking defensively we look pretty solid now with Palhinha coming in. I'm sure we'll talk about that. We look pretty good. Obviously, we've lost 4-0 tonight, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't see us picking up another left back. I don't think it's a priority for Tottenham at the moment.
Yeah. No, Elijah, I'm just going to come to you. I'm not sure whether you're the person that said it, but I feel like you was. But someone said recently we signed Ben Davies as a backup 10 years ago, and
That wasn't me that said that.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, I've just given you some praise, and I'm completely wrong. But somebody said. So Elijah, you didn't say it, but what are your thoughts on we signed Ben Davies 10 years ago as a backup, and he's still around? Does that not prove the sort of incompetence that we've had in these sort of areas in terms of the squad?
Look, all I'll say is I'll sum it up very easily. Thomas Frank with that quote, he's on fraud watch. That's all I got to say.
I can't say these sorts of things because I backed Ange last year. So the minute I say anything negative about Frank, I'm just told, man, I love Ange, and etc. So I'm going to leave you to make them sorts of statements, and I'll just nod my head and I'll stay silent. Alan, Elijah summed it up there. Is Frank on fraud watch after them sorts of comments?
I think any manager can't be judged until they've done a season. So, like, we can't say Frank is the saviour until we've seen something that he's done. Because straight away, people are saying Frank's better than Ange. What's he done better than Ange so far? Nothing. So, yeah, he's a good tactician. We know all that. He's done really well at Brentford. But he does have to be on, not fraud watch, I suppose, but he does need to be, not praised for everything he says. Like saying Davies is going to be one of our main players next season. What did he say again? Sorry, he said it's going to be an important player for us. Well, not really, because if he's fifth choice, he's just going to be the backup to the backup, isn't he? So that's not an important player in my opinion. So
does that mean that he sees him as an important player? Does that mean that he thinks he's going to play quite a few games this year, though? We see him as being fifth.
I think he means he's important, as in he's good with like the players. He's good at like Mr. Ambassador, basically.
Nah, that's not the quote. No. He said
he's actually saying that he's going to be one of them.
He said that we don't need a fullback because we have Ben Davies and Jed Spence. Those are his words.
Yeah.
So no. That's why he's on fraud watch. He might be a charlatan.
Okay.
I'm not letting him off the hook.
Elijah, you might have a point there, mate, because
crazy quote.
Having Ben Davies, if Jed Spence gets injured, we've got Ben Davies, right? And we've got players like Salah for him to go up against. And that's going to be a walk in the park, isn't it? Do you trust Ben Davies to mark Salah?
Think about Douay in 6 days.
Could it also not be a question of
just as bad?
Could it also not be a question of maybe the managers, maybe Frank's been told by the people above him, you're not getting a left back, so you got to deal with what you got to deal with. And he's not going to be like, shit, I got Davis. Yeah, well, we're going to have to get by. He's got to say we're going to be fine. I don't know. Maybe it's just manager talk.
100%. But Ange was slaughtered for doing this last year. So again, my key point has been that you need to hold them both. Not you don't hold Frank to the same as Ange. Ange was here for a couple of years, etc. But I just said, and I've listed out a few different things that I think that if Ange was in charge and Ange done this, then the reaction will be completely different. And I've even had people say, yeah, but we knew what Ange was doing, and I was like, but that is that is what an agenda is. If you turn around and you say if he says this and he says this and they're exactly the same quotes and I'll take them completely differently, that means you have an agenda, whether it be for one person or another. And I think that if Ange had come out and said that, then people would be saying, well, Ange shouldn't be having that. Ange should be turning around and going, we know we need improvements. We know we need. So and I'm not saying either one is correct in this. I'm just saying that if you hold it to one, you have to hold it to the other. And this is where I feel like as a fan base, we've been so split. And I feel like we need to just be a little bit more reasonable on both sides, because every time Frank does something wrong or we lose a game, it's Ange wouldn't have done this, Ange wouldn't have done that. But then I've also seen Frank won a North London derby in a pre-season and everyone was going, look, Ange couldn't do that. And it's like, well, Ange is sitting over a European trophy. Like, it doesn't really make sense what we're doing here. So
it started already.
Big up, Peter. 6:54 in Melbourne. So I'm guessing that you probably missed a game, which is quite lucky, and you've woke up to us. What a life you live, Peter. How are we doing, sir? I hope the weather is lovely in Melbourne. So I just feel like we need to hold managers into the same regards. We can't just say, oh yeah, well that's fine because we like Frank said. I don't really care what he says and what he does. I feel like both of them have been let down. Like, I feel like the last year, I feel Ange was let down. We brought one player in Solanke to improve that 11. At the moment, we've brought in one and a lone player. Is that going to go permanent? But it looks like both of them are being let down. But let's see. We've obviously touched on it a little bit already, but let's go into the whole Bayern game. What was our expectations leading into this game? We'll start with you, Alan. What was your hopes and expectations of the game?
Well, I spoke to you before the game, didn't I? And I predicted the whole thing before it even started. I said we'll be all right defensively, we'll be all right in the midfield, winning the ball back. But as soon as we play it forwards, it'll go to no one, and it'll come back at us time and time and time again, which will give them chances after chance. Which that's what happened, and they just relentlessly attacked our goal. And I just want to speak a little bit on Richarlison, because Richarlison's I'd say, is he our backup, you'd say, wouldn't you, to Solanke? And you get the ball to him, he'd have it at his feet, and he falls over. That's all he was doing for the whole game. And the one strength we all say Richarlison has got is you cross it to him and he wins headers, yeah? Well, he got a free header today, and it was an awful header. 6 yards out, didn't even get it on target. Like, I just didn't see anything he brought to this game today. Nothing. Johnson on the left, he's out of position. It doesn't work. He done a lot more tracking back today, a lot more work rate, but he was basically anonymous going forwards. The only attacking player we had that did anything was Kudus, but he was getting doubled up on a lot. He was still wriggling away from 2 players at a time. Then they had to put 3 on him. Because they weren't worried about the other 2, to be honest. Going the other way, our pressing was okay. I think our pressing will get better. It's only pre-season. Our pressing will be more intense as we go along. But every single Bayern player was press resistant. So even though we were pressing well, they were just passing it around us like we weren't there. And they're just levels above us. And you can see, and this is a little taste of Champions League football, and it doesn't taste very nice at all.
No, completely agree. Nige, what are the thoughts on the Bayern game, and what was your expectations before it?
I echo everything Alan said. Before the game, I actually thought we'd do all right. I thought, we're a couple of weeks ahead of them in our scheduling, aren't we? Because obviously our season starts next week. They've not long been back for pre-season, only a couple of weeks, I think. So I thought we'd hold our own. And I think, for maybe for the first 5 minutes we did. But yeah, they're just levels above us. And there was one move they did, and I think it was the second half, and they started at the back, and they were just pinging just one-touch passes, and it was beautiful to watch. And I think they hit it over at the end, and it's like they are so far ahead of us. But in a way, maybe a defeat like this might finally make the board wake up and think we need to spend some money on this attack, because, like I say, like Anna said, we're so far off it. Attacking wise, as soon as the ball went up, it come back again. Kudus was the only one who could control the ball, who had any impact, and he was getting doubled up on. And we badly need some bodies up front and on the wings out there and a number 10 desperately. So I was expecting maybe we do okay. It is what it is. It's friendly. It's a pre-season. For me, it doesn't matter. Sometimes getting beat heavily is not such a bad thing in pre-season. And Frank said that himself. You know, it's
I bet he
you know,
did.
he's seen a lot tonight that makes him think.
I
So
wonder
that's
why.
what we want. But we want him thinking, don't we? You know, we don't want to be winning every game 4-0 because then it's
You
just
learn
too
more
easy.
from losses as well.
Well,
No, we
he's
do want to
already
be
come
winning every
out.
game 4-0 though. At least I
He's
hope
already
so.
proved. He's already proved that we had Andrew obviously said I win things in my second year, and we obviously knew that he was a fortune teller. And we've also got it with Frank because Frank said I will lose games. So there we go. We know that both of them can see into the future. I will talk about my feelings of the game in a bit, but we're going to come to Elijah and start with you. Obviously, you was on a watch along, and at the end of the game, you didn't seem too happy. So let's have your summary.
Craziest part is I actually didn't do a watch along for the game.
Did you
I
not?
watched it. Nah, I did a show before the game, and then I did a show after the game.
Oh,
But
right, okay. I
just chilling
watched the
with-
game, so I thought you'd done the live. I thought you
Yeah,
went
no,
through
I
the
was
whole way
chilling
through it.
with George because George was doing a watch along.
Oh, right, okay. What was your thoughts?
Hey, look, I've already said Frank is on fraud watching it, but like, I'm not really seeing much, not different from Ange, but I'm not seeing how we're gonna like progress. Like, I'm like I hear so much about Frank, and again, I know it's preseason, but like we're like 5 games in at this point. Like, I need to be seeing something that makes me feel like, all right, cool. I can, whether it's a pattern of play or a style of football or an identity, or the only thing I'm seeing is that we're a bit better defensively. But like, if you're going to be better defensively but still concede 4 to a team that's not trying, then you know, it's and we still look just as bad attacking wise in times. Like, we have a better player in attack now, Kudus, but I'm just watching the games and it's like I'm struggling to identify like a certain brand of football. And when I asked these questions when Frank first came in, the answers I got was that Frank is adaptable and he changes and he uses different formations, stuff like that. I'm not seeing any different formations. The only time I saw it is when we sat back against Arsenal, like towards the end of the game, because they brought on Gyökeres and a couple other players. But I'm seeing the same formation every game, seeing the same kind of style of play, the same kind of build up. I've seen that every single preseason game. I would think that the best time to change stuff up is during preseason. Go with a 3-back, go with a 5-back, go with a narrow formation, or focus on the wings, or focus going through the middle. Or the times to try that are before the PSG game, which was every game before this. I understand the fitness aspects and stuff like that, but if we're trying to get, like, when Ange came in, we saw exactly what he wanted to do. We saw the tactical differences. We saw how we set up, and whether we liked it or didn't like it at the time, at least we knew what we're going to get ready for. I still don't know what we're going to be ready for come the PSG game and come the Premier League season. I don't know. The only thing I know is what formation we'll play, which is 4-3-3. That's it. I don't know. I haven't seen any adaptability. Haven't seen any formation changes. Haven't seen much that makes me feel like, yo, this guy's going to be the guy to take us forward at all. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. I mean, in the chat, everybody's saying along the lines of just a clear difference in quality. Big up Terry, big up gents, big reality check today. We need a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, similar to what you guys are saying. I mean, Elise and Kane were just levels above today. That goal that Kane scored was just ridiculous. Too much time, too much space. You can go through loads of different bits and pieces where you can kind of pick it apart, but quality pass, quality run, absolutely incredible touch, and then weaker foot finish from Kane, which we're so used to seeing. But one thing that I really, really picked up from was, obviously, I think you mentioned it earlier, Alan, that they're only just in back from pre-season. I think it's their second game. And they were screaming and moaning at every single decision that went the wrong way. There was, like, you could tell there was 11 winners on that pitch, where it was like, I don't care if it's a friendly, I don't care if it's a major tournament. We need to win, and we need to win every ball, every game, every decision. Whereas for us, it was a little bit more like, and I think that's part of the issue that we have, that winning mentality, that everything we need to be there, whether it be training, whether it be friendly, whether it be the cup final next week, whatever it is, we need to be doing it. And then kind of touching on what you mentioned, E, for me, the tactics are quite clear. I can see the tactics, and it's give it the kudos. Give it to Kudus. Give it to him. Give it to him. Give it to him. Don't give it to anyone else. And then I sit there and go, and that's it. And I'm not slagging. Yeah, I'm not sitting here slagging off the tactics. I said it when we beat Arsenal that I don't think friendlies are a massive thing. They're not a huge thing. I didn't learn anything from today. I felt that Frank was going to come in and ironically make us better defensively, but we were coming up against some elite players and then some elite goals that were scored. Some of the finishing, that even from the youth players, was just absolutely ridiculous. But I knew that we wasn't good enough in attack, and we signed one good player in attack, and all we do is give him the ball. So one of my biggest worries is what happens if he picks up an injury. What do we do? Because one else from the forward line looks like
picks up an injury, we're screwed, mate.
Yeah, and that is the big thing. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to justify what happened last year, but Ange has a particular way of playing. 100%, he wasn't going to deviate from that. But maybe it was an only way of playing to be able to actually score some sort of goals, because I don't see us scoring any goals. When you take out the amount of goals we scored last year, you take out Son, you take out Maddison, you take out, no one's mentioned it. They take out Kulusevski as well, but no one's mentioned it. But Brennan Johnson probably isn't going to score that amount of goals again, because everybody feels like he scored a hell of a lot more than what we would expect him to score. So you're taking away a lot of goals and assists out of that team, and Kudos will make up for it in some aspects. But I feel like we need some major investments in that forward line, because I just don't see how we're going to score that many goals.
No, we've also got to take Solanke's goals and assists out, because he's not played a pre-season friendly yet, has he?
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that
Reading, I think.
he did. Yeah. Regardless of who's manager, if they're not backed, we're going to be in the same position in 18 months, regardless.
Yeah. And then I've always felt that Spence is definitely a better left back in the way that he plays. And I think part of that is because most of the opposition he comes up against, particularly the elite levels, the Salahs, the guy that plays on the right wing down the road for that club, they're always coming in on their strong foot, which would be Spence's strong foot. So I think he's one-on-one defending. He finds that easier. Whereas when we're from an attacking point of view, obviously, the start of the game, it was Brennan Johnson. There was no wing play. There was nothing on the left-hand side, which again pushed everything in field towards our signing, Kudus. So it's almost like everything is just filtered to him, and let's hope he does something, which I'm not. And again, I'm not blaming the tactics. I think that everybody is looking at him going, he can make something happen. Let's give him the ball. But that proves that we have to bring in other players that are at that level. Like if you brought on another player on the left, for instance, that was that sort of level, then teams don't really know what to do. It becomes more difficult. Whereas they'll just start bringing a centre back coming over, the midfielder will come over. They'll stop it at source, and all of a sudden, we'll look like we can't create any opportunities. So I feel like again that everything that we've seen has just fully justified what most Spurs fans have thought, in terms of if we're relying on Ben Davies came on today, if that's what we're relying on in the latter stages of games, then we might struggle. If we don't improve in particularly the central parts, but more like an attacking area, then where are these goals going to come from? And again, everything's been justified. Richarlison missed chances. We didn't look like we were really going to create, unless it was Kudus. So where do we actually go? Where do we go from here? How do we improve? Is it only signings? Is it a tactical side of things? We didn't look as dangerous on set pieces. So what are we actually going to be doing in a week's time when we come up against PSG, Nige? Nige, go on, sorry.
We are going to be defending a lot, and I just can't see how anything changes before PSG. I don't think it's necessarily a tactical thing. I just don't think we've got the quality out there, apart from Kudus. I think the rest are average at best. I think Solanke's okay, but he's not fit. I think it's going to be a real struggle. We have to bring players in. We have to bring them in. If we don't, we are in for a really long season of, I think, some 1-0 wins, some 1-0 defeats, and a lot of draws, because I just don't think we're going to be exciting to watch.
Yep, I have a feeling you may be correct on that. So just a little one as well, in terms of obviously Son leaving. there are some rumours that have circulated over the last 24 hours to say that Son will not be replaced. They don't think that there is a replacement that's required because of the performances of Odobert in training. Now, we've heard this probably every year for the last 20 odd years, that some players have performed quite well in training and therefore we don't need to go and sign one. Bergvall, Gray come to mind immediately. Are we in a situation where we can afford not to replace Son, Elijah?
Oh man. Apparently Frank thinks Odobert can do that. Yeah. Look, I like Odobert. I don't think he's ready to have that type of expectation. Mm-hmm. I think him and Tell could together produce what Son produced, but that's still a big order. It's still a tall order. And as much as I like Odobert, not as much of a fan of Tell. But I think it's risky because Odobert, he has some good moments, but it's hard to ask a 21-year-old who's been dealing with injuries to basically become a starter on a team that has expectations of top 6 and to then perform damn near week in, week out. It's difficult. And I don't think Odobert can do it yet. I think he'll be able to do it in a couple of years, but now it's too early. But this is just classic. This is what we do at Spurs. We don't replace world-class players. We never have. I don't remember the last world-class player we ever bought. It wasn't since I've become a fan. I ain't seen one. We always develop them. That's how it's always been. So, yeah, it looks like I wouldn't be surprised if we don't bring in a winger. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't even bring anyone in. You know, I think if Palhinha is the last signing we make, I wouldn't be surprised at all, and we just have to go in for the season with what we got. I'm just saying, if Frank's a coach, he better do something because he's got to do something. That's all I can say.
He's on some sort of watch or something. You said, didn't he?
He's on fraud watch, but Frank's got to do something. Like he has to be able to do something at least.
Alan, what are your thoughts on Son not needing to be replaced because of Odobert?
He does 100%. He needs to be replaced. I agree with Elijah. I don't think you should put that pressure on Tell or Odobert to be the guys that come in and say you're the next Sonny or whatever that is. I know no one's going to be the next Sonny, but even Sonny had a poor season that season. I think he got 10 goals and 11 assists. That's still pretty good for somebody that even got injured through the season as well. And to say to a 20-year-old Odobert or 20-year-old Tell, oh, well, I believe in you, because you know what's going to happen. If they have some poor performances, which they will because they're young, they're going to be inconsistent. It always happens with any youngster. And when that happens, and if the fan base turns on them and their confidence drops, then what? Then what happens? Then we're going to have nobody out on the left. And right, let's just go through the forward line. We've got Richarlison and Solanke in the line. Richarlison will never get injured. We know he will. He gets injured all the time. He'll be injured. Then we've just got Solanke. So then Solanke's got to play twice per week. And what will happen? Solanke will get injured because he'll be overworked. Then he'll be out. Then we won't have a striker. Then on the left, we've covered it with Tell and Odobert. But we've got no 10 because we've got 2 injuries in the 10. So Odobert is going to have to play in the 10. We get 1 injury from them 2. We've got no positions filled whatsoever. And this will happen. Richarlison will get injured. Solanke will get overworked. And Tell and Odobert will have to do it on their own. All the pressure will be on them. And it will fall apart. I'm telling you. We definitely need to sign a left winger. We need a striker and we need a 10. We need all 3 of them. And I think we'll get 1. I don't think we'll get 3. I really don't.
Yeah, we'll go into what positions exactly and who we think we should be getting in a little while. But what do you think, Nige, in terms of Son not needed to be replaced for you? Seems like the other guys, and I completely agree. I think it's absolutely ludicrous unless we're basically trying to put it out on the market that we're not really that interested. But then that kind of goes out of the window as soon as you go to a club and go, oh, by the way, is your left winger for sale? So I don't understand what we're doing here. So what are your thoughts?
I'm very much the same as you guys. I think we desperately need a left-sided player. For me, something different as well. Tao and Odegaard are very similar. Both quick wingers, like to take on their man. Someone different, and I don't want to mention Grealish, but someone of that ilk, someone who maybe slows the game down a little bit, can still take on man, buy free kicks. Someone, I don't know. I just feel like I really like Odegaard. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think Tao not so much, but I think Tao's got so much confidence in himself. I just wish Odegaard had Tao's confidence because I think
Yeah.
Odegaard's a really good young player, and I think he just maybe just lacks a bit of self-confidence sometimes. But I totally agree. We cannot be expecting these two players, young kids effectively, to play a Premier League season and a Champions League season. They need someone more experienced in front of them, I think. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, with both of them, I think they're like really not very good, but I think they're good options off the bench. I think if you're building a squad and you go like your options off the bench are Johnson, Odegaard, Tell, then I'm not 100%. I'm not like that's dreadful or anything like that. But for them to be your starting wingers, and it's going to be it has to be one of them three, right? I mean, Johnson played there today. I don't see why. You've got, and you just mentioned it on the left side. I'll use the right side now. Obviously, Kulusevski's out, so he's not going to play there. So the only two options you got on the right hand side are Kudus and Johnson, and both of them played today. So it's almost like, well, what are you gonna? Are you then going to move one from one side to the other if they got injured? That I wasn't sure. Obviously, a lot of it is down to fitness and things like that. But for me, both of them are backups. They're your backup options when your star men are out, injured, whatever, and then they'll come in and play the odd game and then they'll duck out. But at this moment in time, it seems that they're the starters. So I just find it really, really strange. I keep saying this, but when you've got a young sort of team, the whole thing that you want is to have experience around them. You need experienced players around these players for them to be able to flourish and reach the levels that we need them to be. They're not just going to reach their levels by not having loads of young players around them. It's really, really strange. Do you think that we need not only some players on that side, but also some sort of experience as well?
100%, yeah. Yeah, it's difficult. I think the trouble is we got wingers that can play. I mean, Odegaard can play on the right too, can't he? So it's
Yeah.
almost like they can interchange. I think Johnson's awful on the right. I think he's even worse on the left. So I don't see a place for Johnson. I would be starting if I had the choice of those three. I would be starting Odegaard, but we definitely need better on the left to start, and maybe his backup on the right as well.
Yeah, and again, Terry, I completely agree. You've got Kudus there, who seems to be a level above, but everybody else is not at a required level. So they're the sort of areas that I think we really need to be looking at. I just don't understand how anyone can sit there and say, "Big up Andy, big up Sava, appreciate the raid, mate, much appreciated. Hope you guys had a great stream. Anyone coming in, please like the video. We've got 4 YouTubers on screen today, so please make sure you're subbing to everybody, spreading some of that Spurs love, because Spurs have not been shedding the love to Spurs fans. Pause. Never have I seen a front line lacking so much quality, unprepared before a league season in a long time. In fact, we have no creativity. Yeah, 100%, Daniel. Completely agree, mate. Nice to have you in here. Thanks for coming. But I agree, and we've all just been discussing this exact point. But this is not a Frank problem. This is a problem that we had last year. There were points last season where we also looked, even with the attacking, what Ange wanted in terms of attacking, putting people forward, we still didn't look like we were going to score goals. There were so many games where we looked like we were never ever going to score goals. So again, I always felt that this was going to be a problem, but from the rumours within the club, it's almost like we don't really need to improve these sorts of areas, which I just find really crazy. One of the reports that has come out literally just before the game was, or maybe just after the game, is Spurs are interested in Nicholas Jackson for £80 million. Like, I see someone comment on X saying, "I'd rather Michael Jackson," which is crazy, but like, if Nicholas Jackson is the answer, we are asking the wrong questions. And the worst thing is, if he come in, he would probably be a decent option. That's how poor this squad is. Like, he would actually, I think he would. I think he runs in behind, and that will create something different. And also, as we've already discussed, Richarlison is probably knocking anyone else.
That's why he's not a good option, bro.
This is one of the big problems. But he offers something different for me, and he is actually available as well. So, but what are your thoughts on an £80 million bid for Nicholas Jackson, Nige? We'll start with you.
Absolutely not a chance, mate. Not a chance. I wouldn't take him at all. I think he's an awful striker. Absolutely awful. No, definitely not for me. I'd rather keep Richarlison.
Well, even though he's not
really
fit.
Don't we? I just Nicholas, seriously, 80 million? No. I mean, it's never going to happen anyway, so we don't deal with Chelsea, but no, please.
Elijah, I have a feeling we know where you...
Don't ask me, bro. You know what? Let me turn my camera off. Don't ask me, bro. Don't even ask me about that guy.
That's a no, quite clearly, for Nicholas Jackson. Yeah, as I say, the £80 million mark is absolutely crazy. Guys, the chat has just gone crazy. Massive thank you to Spurs 5. Raid. If you're on your way in, oh, we've had a Lubo raid. Big up, Lubo. Guys, if you're on your way in, please like and subscribe to the channel. Guys, everyone's links are in the description as well. So make sure we're liking and subbing to everyone. Guys, thank you very much for coming in. So I've just had a little quick check online. So we have got some comments that have come out from Frank talking about new signings, and he said, I think we are definitely in the market in general. Of course, when players get a long-term injury, we need to look into that, but generally we're in the market. Yes, nobody feels close or far away. I'm not saying anything, but there's anything that is completely 100%. So it sounds like in the market, as opposed to we absolutely need some bodies in this door. That does not sound like he's saying we're even confident to be able to get anyone over the line. Alan, who do we need? What are the options? Where do we need to be signing players from? And have you got any names that you think are the ones we should be targeting?
Yeah, there's loads of names, but like, are they realistic? Like, we've got that Rafael Leao from AC Milan, who plays on the left. Absolute brilliant dribbler, speedy, strong. You know, he's basically another Kudos, but on the left-hand side. You would probably be able to get him for about 70 million. He's on 132 grand a week, so we can afford his wages. We can up his wages. The only problem we'd have there is he loves AC Milan and he wants to stay there. So convincing him to come might be a problem. But somebody of that ilk needs to be playing on the left, and that would fill a sunny hole, in my opinion. But it's a dream, really, because I don't know whether we'd go out and sign someone like that on the left-hand side, especially if they're saying that Odegaard and Tell are good enough to be playing. Up front, 100%, we need to replace Richarlison. I just don't know what Richarlison brings to our forward line. I can't see it anymore. I like the guy. I love his work rate. I love his attitude, but he just doesn't bring anything to our forward line. Nothing. I was watching him a lot today, and I've been watching him for the last year or so. And if he's not injured, he's coming back from an injury. And at the moment, he's just... I didn't see him do anything positive today. Not one thing. He needs to be replaced, but he wants to stay as well. So we can't... I don't know whether you can force him out the door or cancel his contract or whatever, but we're not ruthless like that. We're not a club to do that. And when you're saying Nicholas Jackson for 80 million, that's a joke. Like, nobody should be paying 80 million for Nicholas Jackson. I wouldn't pay 20 million for him. And he wouldn't... He's better than Richarlison, though. That's the problem. That's it, and that's embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? We had last...
That's my point, is that it is embarrassing, but 80 million is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a joke. And you've got to think as well, a couple of years ago, we had Harry Kane and Sonny, number 9 and on the left. Now we've got Richarlison and Johnson. Look how the levels have dropped massively now. Because it's baffling me. Like, even on the right, if something happens to Kudos, we're stuffed, we're screwed. Like, we won't have much on the right either. We would have Johnson, Richarlison, and tell as our forward lines going into a Champions League game, potentially against PSG, Bayern Munich, Barcelona. Come on, man. That's not good enough. We need to improve that forward line massively.
Yeah, completely agree. Nige, nodding your head. Who's the one player that you think we should be going out and signing? I've got a couple that I just think are no-brainers for price, for whatever that may be. But where are your thoughts at with everything, and who should we be going to get?
Well, I'd love Grealish. I think for me, getting him in on loan. I know that City want apparently all of his wages paid, but I'm sure there are ways and means that we can work around that to, even if we give a slightly bigger loan fee to get the wages down. So for me, Grealish 100% also takes a bit of pressure off Maddison. He can come back if he's ever going to be fit again. And if it's only for a season, I don't see it as an issue. I really like the look of this Paz guy. I didn't know a lot about him, but I've been doing a bit of research today. He looks like a player. So for me, if we're going to spend some money, forget Jackson, get Paz in.
See, Paz is an interesting one. I actually discussed it on a recent stream I've done with Euro expert or Alex Barker, as some of you might know. And he was basically saying that they're the richest club in Italy. Like, they have absolutely no reason to sell anyone. The whole thing is based around that Real Madrid have some sort of buyback clause where they can essentially buy him and then sell him on for an immediate profit. I think it's something like £10 million they pay for him or something crazy. And then Spurs can come in and bid straight away. But in terms of their finances, they're the richest club in Italy, which is why they've made huge moves in the transfer market. But he looks like a player. But again, it's the young route. We're going down that young route of getting a young player through the door. And is it a case of that's what we need? Do we not need more experience? But I agree. I think he's a top player. Grealish on loan. I've seen so many fans saying that they wouldn't take Grealish on loan. Now, the rumour is he's going to Everton. Everton are not paying him £300,000 a week. So if that's the case, surely we should just be looking at bringing him in. He can cover the left. He can cover the centre part. I know that he probably has some sort of drawbacks, but if you're getting him on loan, surely would you not be thinking about bringing Grealish in?
Listen, we need Jesus. That's who we need, bro. I'm hearing all these names, man. I'm hearing all these names. I need the Lord to come down from heaven and bless this team. That's what we need.
Jesus don't even start up front for Charlison. He ain't going to do anything for us.
Yeah, true. Say Jesus might tear his ACL as well, given our medical staff. So, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't inflict that pain on our Lord, fam. But look, obviously, Grealish, we're not in the mood to complain. We need quality players. We can't complain about Grealish. Like, no matter what we think of the player, if he's good or not, if he'll fit the system, we can't complain, bro. Like, Maddison and Kudu are both injured. Udogie is injured. Takai is a chronic that I don't know why we bought him when he has like an actual illness or a problem, like a medical problem that will keep him sidelined. Dragusin's injured. Like, all these players are injured or missing. We can't be complaining about getting players, especially with the last month. This is the last month, the 1st of January, the transfer window starts. So, look, I understand Grealish in terms of his wages and his attitude and how his career's kind of spiraled. But we're not in a position to complain. Whoever we get, I just hope that they're experienced and they're better than what we have, because like we can't really do much anymore, innit? We can't do anything. And these players that we want to sell, we're including them in the squad. Richarlison just played. We want him gone, but he just played. You know what I'm saying? Like, started. There you go. Bissouma, we want to sell him. He's in the lineup. And I want to shout out Philly, because Philly had told me this in the stream, and I completely agree with him, because he's the one who came up with it. I'm not taking credit. If we were really serious about selling players like Bissouma and Richarlison, we would tell them, yo, you ain't getting a squad number this year. Because Richarlison, he wants to stay at Spurs for the World Cup. He don't give a fuck about Spurs. He cares about the World Cup. So the thing I would tell him is, yo, you ain't getting a number. If you want to get to that World Cup squad, you got to go somewhere else. And then he'd have to fight for his minutes. So he'd have to go to another club and get game time. But we're not doing that because we're using these players. So we're basically shooting ourselves in the foot and blaming the next man. I can't do it. Yeah, we just got to be like, you know what, yeah, you got to go. You got to go, bye-bye. Even if it looks like we're struggling, we got to go in it. And yeah, whether it's Grealish, whether it's Harvey Elliott, because I've seen all these players. Look, if we had a choice, then we can have the conversation. But like, we don't have much of a choice. Like, we need a fullback. So what? If we're not happy with a certain fullback we're linked with, we're going to start with Ben Davies there. We're going to have to just bite the bullet. And of course, this is not what we want to do. But right now, as fans, as people who have no actual interaction with the board or no actual decision, we got to be. Well, first of all, you got to protest it, I guess, at these marches and stuff. But like, at this point, in terms of what we can actually do, beggars can't be choosers. We got to just take what we can get. Grealish isn't a bad player, but what else are we going to do? We could sign Eze, but we need to sign someone.
And that's it. The Grealish thing makes like when Grealish was first spoken about, I was like, absolutely not. And the reason why was I thought the 300 grand a week was going to be a problem. What City would want would be some sort of obligation. Like, they're not just going to go pay the 100 million for him, just take him on loan for a season and let us know how you go. Like, they're going to want some. And then when I'm reading that Everton and West Ham are interested, I'm like, okay, well, they're not going to spend 40, 50, 60 million on this player. They're not going to spend 300 grand a week. So this must be a deal where City are subsidising. And then I'm sitting there going, hang on a minute. Where are we? Where are we at in terms of our wingers? And we're sitting there going, no, we need to get rid of this person. We need to get rid of that person. And then we're getting a Grealish offered up and everyone's going, oh, no, not Grealish. I want, say, Liao and things like that. And it's like, hang on a minute. What if these are not available? What if these are not options that we're going to get? Are we really in a situation to go, nah, Jack Grealish, I know he went and won the treble and basically played like most of their games that year, but I'm all right. We've got Odegaard and Tell to start. Like, where are we at as a fan base to think that, Alan?
Remember though, it is a World Cup year, so Jack Grealish might be trying to get into the England squad still, so he might have some determination to play well this year. He's got some proving to do as well, because obviously he was left on the bench a lot last season, so maybe he wants to prove himself still. He just wants to play football. He's a lad, and he wants to play football. He could be a good addition. He's won everything that you can win near enough. So he'll bring that experience as well. The question I have to you guys is, at the beginning of the window, would you have picked Grealish as your number 10 top priority?
No, but I don't think he's anyone's top priority. Personally, he's not my top priority. But if he's available, you go and get him in. For me, that's where I'm. That's where
it would
I'm.
Depend on how much he would have costed. If he was going to cost, because like City were valuing him at like 50 mil, I wouldn't buy him for 50. But if we could get him for like 30 to like 40's pushing it, but like 30 plus add-ons and then paying like 200k a week for him, I would have taken that deal for Grealish personally.
Nige?
Well, at the start of the window as well.
Yeah.
Grealish wasn't my first choice. I've wanted Eze the whole window, and Eugene said in now, there is a choice, Eze, but Spurs clearly don't want him because we haven't gone in for him all window. We know the price. We're willing to pay 60 million for Morgan Gibbs-White. If we really wanted Eze, we would have gone in for him, and we haven't for whatever reason. Whether that's because Eze wants Arsenal and he's waiting for a contract from, I don't know, but we haven't gone in for him. So clearly we don't want him that much. So Grealish is probably the next best choice for me.
And I'm not going to go down to the whole manager situation. We've already been through that, Ange, etc. But Ange reports, and obviously this is all reports, but the reports is that Ange quite clearly stated at the start of last season that Eze wasn't a player that he wanted. And from what we're hearing as well, we don't seem to be in for Eze here. Is there a particular reason why we can guess that Ange didn't want him and nor did Frank? Or is it just a case of they know that it's beyond Spurs? Like, we just know we're not going to spend 70 million when we've just obviously had that bid was eventually turned down, I guess, for Morgan Gibbs-White. So the money's there. Is it a case of the player profile just doesn't fit with both managers? What is it?
I mean, with Ange, it's probably the motor. Because we saw Maddison get dropped because of that reason. Like, we've seen players get dropped because of the motor reason. So it's probably that in terms of Ange. I don't know in terms of Frank because I can't identify the style of play we want to play. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure about what it is for Frank. Maybe it's the money aspect because we did spend. I know people don't like to include the Tell money, but we did have to spend the money to get Tell here, which was 30 million. Because the 10 million I won't count because that was under Ange, but we did spend 30 million to get Tell here. Like, that was money we had to spend. We did spend 55 on Kudus to get him here. You know, so like this is money that we've had to spend, and apart from Son now, I guess we haven't really sold anyone. So that is money we did have to spend. So for Ange, I'll assume it's the profile. I don't know about Frank.
Alan, what are your thoughts? Why are neither manager that have got different sort of playing styles, neither are interested in Eze? And what's even weirder is that the fan base are virtually everyone is calling for this player, and yet Spurs just don't seem to be interested in.
Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe he's not interested in coming to us. Maybe Spurs know that, and then they're trying to save face by saying we don't want him. He's reported and saying he wants to go to Arsenal. He's been saying that for the reports have been saying that, sorry, for what, the last 2 or 3 weeks now. We was going to slap 60 million down, like Nigel said, for Morgan Gibbs White after the kudos deal. So we had that 60 million there. Eze's release clause was still active at the time for 8 million more. If we really wanted Eze, or if Eze was available and he wanted to come to us, all we had to do was put the money across and we could have had him. But I think there's a feeling there that we know that he doesn't want to come to us. And I think we're getting that feeling with a lot of players, because it seems like from Mbeumo, for example, I'll go back to that. He used to play with Frank, so Frank knew everything about him. Frank banged the best out of him, scored 20 goals last season. I'm sure Frank would have wanted him, but he came out straight away and said, I want United. It might be a thing that all these players are waiting to go to the Uniteds, the Liverpools, the Chelseas, the Arsenals first, maybe for the money or whatever it is, whatever reason it is, for the heritage or whatever. And then we get the scraps at the end. And it seems to happen every single year that we just wait and wait and wait until they've signed all their players, and then we try and sign ours at the end. I just don't think Eze wants to come to us.
Yeah, I suppose that is a point. And just going back to this, this point made here, Grealish would want to shake Pep's shackles and play like he did at Villa. People need to really understand as well, because this is one thing that's thrown at him immediately, and I completely get it with Grealish, is the goals and the assists. But at City, the whole system, everything about City is designed for their one striker to score as many goals as possible. That's the whole idea. So the reason why Jack Grealish was brought in was to be able to pull players away from the central positions, which allows there to be more space for Haaland to go and score goals. So I don't think this is a particular in a Pep sort of system to label winger, he doesn't score enough goals. That's not the whole idea of him. And we all know that, and everybody said it, that in terms of a Pep system, it's very robotic. It's very much a case of players have very specific positions that they're supposed to be in. Grealish is not really supposed to be near the goal. He's supposed to be as far away as possible to stretch teams and bring players closer to him, like opposition players. So I agree. I think that if we was to get that, and also what an experience to learn under a manager like Pep. Grealish will probably be a better player now than when he went there. Even just from a tactical point of view, he'll be able to use them skills in a better way for me. But point where, bring up Eugene. What's happening, mate? How are you doing? Grealish was benched by Doku. He doesn't play football. Are we in a position where, again, can we turn down these players? We have got a couple of chats that have come up that I've saved, guys. Any transfer suggestions, players we should be signing? I'm going to save, and then we're going to throw them at the panel towards in the next sort of segment that we go through. So please pop them in the chat. Any sort of players you think we should be looking at? Yeah, sorry, I was just sorry. So what? Doku is the fact that Grealish was replaced by Doku, does that come into it? Is that just a change of tactics where Pep Guardiola was going for more wingers that were slightly more direct and able to kind of constantly keep running at their fullbacks? What are your thoughts on him being replaced by Doku? I think Doku's a good player, to be honest with you. He doesn't bring goals and assists, but exciting. He beats his man. I think the goals and assists are probably going to come when he develops that bit of experience, to be honest. But Nige, what are your thoughts on that comment that coming from Eugene?
I love you, Eugene, but to say that Grealish doesn't want to play football anymore is crazy. Doku's just a different type of player to Grealish, isn't he? You know, and this is why I've said this is why I'd love Grealish at Spurs, because he's different to what we've got. And you know, it's possible that players actually just go a little bit stale at clubs and need a move. That is okay. You know, lots of players do it. They spend 3 or 4 years at a club, you know, and you have 3 great years, and then they start to go downhill a little bit and need a move. And I think maybe that's what's happened to Grealish.
Yeah. Are your thoughts on Doku? Like, is Doku not a decent winger in this league? Then does that prove that you're not good enough to be in the league if Doku takes your place? So what are you for? I think he's a good player, Alan. What would you say about Doku? Is that a slight on Grealish?
Yeah, Doku's a good player. He just what Pep did was he changed his style of play, and he went with fast wingers. And Grealish is not that winger, is he? He's not that kind of guy. He's the one that slows it down. He's the one that puts the crosses in, and you know, he's the skillful one that wins free kicks. And he just wasn't fitting into that style of play. What they wanted to do was break fast, get Haaland on the ball, and get Haaland as many goals as possible, like you were saying. And Grealish just wasn't doing that. But Grealish has got other attributes, and I think he used them when he needed him. I think with Pep Guardiola, he's very ruthless. You know, if you have a couple of bad games, you'll be on the bench. And Doku, I think was it last season or season before, he was on fire at one stage. He was one of the best wingers in the league at one stage. So not many players would have got him in his position. So it's just unlucky that it took Grealish's place. It wasn't Grealish being too bad or Grealish going off the boil. It was just he was better at the time, and maybe Grealish's ego got hit a little bit. Maybe, don't know, but we don't know him. And but we're looking at signing him in the 10, but he plays mainly on the left. So I don't know.
I think it'd start in most positions for us, to be honest with you. I think he'd start at the 10. I think he started the left-hand side. He's a footballer. You know what I mean? And the whole he doesn't like football. I know that he likes having a drink and everything else. And we want players to have characters. And when we get characters in the game, we then try and beat it out of them. We've done the same thing with Dele Alli. But Grealish is someone who loves football, surely. He looks like the type of character that loves being on the pitch. And like, I wouldn't be sitting there if I was a person who weren't loving football. I wouldn't want to get kicked every 10 seconds. He seems to love that. So I understand.
He definitely wants to play football. Definitely.
I have similar. And big up Eugene. As I say, it's everyone's opinions, and nobody's right or wrong. We don't know the inner workings of a Jack Grealish mind, but I just think, and as I say, for me personally, when it was rumoured, and it's very similar to the Palhinha deal, it was always a case of, is the money gonna mean that we prevent us signing elsewhere? So Palhinha for 50 million, 40 million that was rumoured, that might be a deal where you go, I'm not sure of, and then all of a sudden you go and get him on loan, and you go, actually 100% you get him through the door if you can get him on loan. And Grealish is the same. I'm not saying that 50 million pound, 300 grand a week, we should go and get him. I'm saying if there's a chance that you get that fella on loan where you're only paying, say, 200 grand a week or something like that, surely when you look at what we had today, Grealish makes an impact on what we had today. Surely, like I don't think that there's any doubt. Is there anyone that thinks that he doesn't make an impact on today's game? Probably not a massive one because we're still missing other players, but he makes an impact surely on what we've got.
Sticks to him, doesn't he? You play a 30, 40 yard pass to him, he's not losing control of it. You know, his first touch is straight to his feet. You know, our players at the moment in the attacking areas just bounces off him and comes back. So for me, Grealish is a no-brainer.
Yeah,
he would have made a difference today because everything that went forward today came straight back. It wouldn't happen in Grealish's feet, like Nige just said.
Yeah, completely agree. And that's the thing. We need to realise where we're at. Guys, I've just had a look at where we're at. 96 likes. Come on, 4 more to get us to 100 likes. What a stream that will be. Great panel. We're talking all things Spurs. As I said, let's try and back each other because Spurs ain't backing us at this moment in time. I've started a couple of the comments that have been made to bring up potential players to bring in. Finn, I completely agree. I'm going to drop Elliot out. I'm sorry. I've said it and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Frank don't want dickheads and
like him.
Elliot's a dickhead. I'm sorry. He's a baller. I think he's good. I think he improves us, but he's a dickhead. The other three, Grealish, Eze, Gordon. Yes, you're dreaming. Guys, out of them four, would you take every single one of them? Or is there any where you like me going, no, I'm not sure of? All four, yeah? Elijah?
If we could, sure. Yeah. Fuck it.
I don't mean we'll get all four of them, by the way. I just mean one of, or would you sign all four of them?
Who was the four?
It's on the
There,
screen.
Grealish, Elliot, Eze, Gordon.
Don't think I
Gordon
signed
is
Eze.
the guy. Gordon would be unbelievable, I think.
Yeah, Gordon would be brilliant.
Not Eze. Not for left wing. I wouldn't sign Eze.
Nah. But I think probably Elliot and Eze are probably more central. Madu Grealish you could throw in there as well. But again, it comes down to the finances of the deals. You know what I mean? Like, as I say, out of these four, if you're saying to me you go and get Grealish on loan, then that's a different to if you go and splash, 40 million rumoured at Elliot, 60, 65 Eze. Gordon's going to cost you 100 million, and he surely, especially if they've got Isak on his way out. So, but four very, very good options. Although, as I say, dickhead policy and all that, not sure Elliot meets him with that.
If Jackson's worth 80 million, then Gordon's worth 160.
Yeah. Well, don't tell Newcastle that, because we're not going to want to follow that. You just keep that one quiet. Lookman's a great option. Would these four kind of provide the perfect window for us? Lookman at left wing, Cam. You know his name. I ain't going to try and pronounce it. Wissa and then Robinson, all doable and financially as well. What do you think? Does that kind of that solves everything, doesn't it? You've got your left wing, your Cam, striker.
Yeah, that would be a great window. That would be, but it is getting to the point now where we've got a couple of weeks of the window left, and I'm like, yeah, I take him. Yeah, I take him. Yeah, I'm getting desperate. I take anyone, but those four, all top players.
Yeah, Elijah. Would you be happy with that as your window?
I want Paqueta, personally. I like Paqueta.
So do I.
I also want to raid West Ham again and piss off the West Ham fans. But I understand that the Paqueta would probably cost less because of Syria, and he is a good player. But yeah, I agree with Wissa and Robinson. Don't know about Lookman at left wing. Would rather play him up top, but beggars can't be choosers again, innit? If we're going in for Lookman, he can play on the left. Why not? It'll be better than what we have. So yeah.
We're taking anything at this moment in time, guys. Savinho over Grealish, but I don't think Savinho's the guy that's going to be leaving there. I think if any of them are leaving now, I think Grealish. I think Savinho's a top player, but yeah, I can't see him coming to Spurs, and I can't see them selling him. Eugene again. 100 million for him. Pep wouldn't have benched him for 2 years if everything was fine. I think it's a different tactic, mate. That's what I think
exactly
it is.
What Pep does.
Savinho, it kind of is a bit as well. But Savinho on one side, Doku on the other. It seems that he went away from having the playmaker type, the slowing the game down, and went for a bit more pace. That's generally what I think it is. Some great names being brought out by Ronnie. We need any two of Liao, Grealish, Eze, Paz, Lee Kang-hin, Kubo, and Sunset, is it? But he's a top player. He's a good player. Seen him been linked recently. But as I said, I think the problem that we've got is and we mentioned it earlier in terms of it's getting players out of the door. That is the absolute key thing we need to do. And it's a term that's been thrown at Spurs a lot recently, and I think it's exactly the perfect one, is if we were serious, this is what we would be doing to players. We would be just shipping them out the door. But saying that, how many of let's use like Jackson as an example at Chelsea. How are they managing to get out players that are they're useless for and barely play and still pick up 30, 40 million? Like the players that we get rid of are going to be 2-3 million, aren't they? Like Hill and that sort of thing. They're not going to be picking up anywhere near what Dewsbury Hall. 30 million. Why has he gone for? I know there's a bit of English.
They sell them. They actually sell them when they're supposed to sell them. The problem with Spurs is that Spurs use up players as much as they can and then try and sell them. The Dewsbury Hall is still young enough. He's not old. He's still in his mid-20s. And Nicholas Jackson is still in his mid-20s. who else did they sell? They sold a bunch of players at this point because they were like Broha's in his like mid to late 20s. But all these players they're selling, they still have a few good years in them. Like João Felix is like mid 20s as well. The problem with Spurs is that we're using the players up as much as we can and then selling them, but they don't have much time left. Like we did the same thing with Son. Son's just left, but Son's noticeably declined from his prime. If this is a Chelsea, as soon as Son starts to decline, they're selling him because he'd still have 2 to 3 years of some good play in him, but he'd just be starting to decline. And that's what Chelsea do. If they're not going to have a world-class player at their position or someone who can be world-class, they're going to sell them while they're in their prime or sell them while they can still perform at a semi-high level, get the money for them, and then move them on for someone, move the money onto another player. That's what Chelsea have always done. That's what they do. And that's just the way it's supposed to be done. Like, look at our 2019, the team that made the final in 2019. A lot of those players, they either went for free or went for cheap money. It's because we used them until we can't. Until they physically can't play the games. And then at that point, who else is going to sign them for any type of money? So if we start adopting how Chelsea do it, I think we'd end up selling players for more.
And this is what I find really, really funny about our policy. And I hear it across, everybody says it on YouTube and it's 100% correct, is that, yeah, that's great, but he won't have sell-on value. Like Wissa, Palhinha won't have sell-on value. So, okay, how many players do we sell on for value? So why does that even come into it? Like exactly what you've just said. It's not like we sit there and we do what Chelsea do, where we go, yeah, but actually they're going to buy the player for 30 and they'll sell him for 25 in a couple of years after playing him a few games, whatever. It's like, no, we'll sign him for 30 and then we'll let him go till he's worth 10 and then we'll sell him on. So how many players have we actually gone and bought and then actually sold on for a profit? So this focus on buying players that we can make profit on really doesn't make any sense because we don't make the profit on them. So what's the point in targeting that sort of market anyway? But obviously now it does seem that we're kind of coming away from such the young project and we're going to the sort of 25, 26 range. Paqueta is 100% a player that I would be going for. I think he's brilliant. But would West Ham do a deal? And Nige, would you be interested in getting Paqueta over the line? We could rub some West Ham fans up the wrong way for sure.
I did a stream last night and Paqueta was mentioned, and oh my word, I wish I'd never brought him up. I literally just said, you know what, he wouldn't be my first choice. I was a bit like, he seems to always be on his ass and throwing his arms in the air. He wouldn't be my first choice. Plus, he plays for West Ham. I got so much stick for it. Would I take him? Yes. Is he better than what we've got? Yes. Is he my first choice? Nowhere near. But I would take him.
That's very, very nice. There must be another Luke in the chat because that's obviously not meant for me. I had to bring that one up. Sorry, guys. Alan, Paqueta, is that a player that you're thinking of?
Yeah, I'll go back to what Elijah said earlier. Beggars can't be choosers. If Paqueta came in the news tomorrow saying he's signing for Spurs, I'll be happy. Do you think Spurs do this on purpose? Do you think our club does this on purpose? Let's it drag out right to the end. So anyone we sign, we'll be happy with. Because at the beginning of the window, when we were saying we're getting this big injection of money coming in, we're doing things differently now, and then we signed Kudos and Morgan Gibbs-White at the same time. Everyone was excited, and now it's getting to the end of the window. We're saying we'll take anybody. Is this done on purpose? Because it seems to happen most years. And now we're saying, like, Paqueta's a good player. He is. But like Nigel, he wouldn't be my first choice either.
Who would be your first choice? Do you actually think that we need a centre midfielder? Like, obviously, we got Palhinha in. He's not a Morgan Gibbs-White replacement, obviously, because they're completely different players. Do you still think that we need another player to come in and play where Morgan Gibbs-White would have played? And do you think he would have been a 10 or do you think he would have been an 8? Because I personally think he was going to probably play more central, sort of centre midfield.
I don't know. I think he was brought in to play in the 10. I think he was going to play further forward. We're never going to know now, but I honestly do. And I think he was only going to be used in the 8 if he was needed, because we've got loads of 8s. But Bentancur, Burville, Gray can all play in the 8. Sarr can play in the 8. I think Morgan Gibbs-White was going to be playing in that 10 because they knew Maddison was going to get injured eventually, and we knew Kulu was injured. All the other areas are covered. I think he was going to play further forward. So I do honestly believe we'll get a 10 in this summer, but I don't think we'll get anything else. If it depends. If Grealish is the 10 that we get and we get him on loan, then I do believe we'll get another player. Yeah. But if we spend big money on the 10, then I don't think we'll get anyone else.
Yeah. Are you in agreement, Elijah? What do you think? Do you think if well, how much do you think we're going to spend is probably the question. Obviously, we had the 60 for Morgan Gibbs-White. Do you expect us to spend 60? Are we going to spend less than that, more than that? Where are you at, Elijah?
There you go.
Okay, fair enough. So you generally think that we will not make a single signing?
I doubt it. Unless we sell someone, I doubt it.
It's looking bleak, guys. So, Alan, how much do you think that we'll spend? Do you think it'll be around the £60 million mark? Is what we spend then?
I hope so, because it's going to be held against the club, isn't it? If we don't, because we had the 60 million there ready to go and we didn't spend it, and then obviously we've got another 20 million for Son. I know we're going to sell some players, but I don't know who at this rate. I would sell Richarlison and Basuma tomorrow if you gave me the choice, but. Just, it's hard to say. I think we will buy a 10, but I'm not sure if they'll spend the 60 million on the 10. Though they should, but I don't think they will.
Yeah.
Remember the Mark? Sorry, do you remember the Mark Gay when we apparently in January put 70 million up for him? Where did that money go as well?
I think that was all. I think that was all different in terms of. I think that was just a smokescreen. Last minute we tried, but with this, it was like you've done it so early. You can't now say, "Oh yeah, we tried." There's no other player available for 60 million that you can go for. Like with Gay, it was like, oh, it was only a day before, and it was going to be, and it was like I don't think it was a real bid, to be honest. I think it was all just a bit of an action that sort of thing. Whereas this, you can't tell me that deal fell through and then 4 weeks later or whatever it is, you physically couldn't get any other player over the line when you're spending 60 million quid. So I understand. I think it's a similar situation, but I do think that there's a big difference in terms of the amount of time you've got to action it. So I think if 60 million pound isn't spent between now and the end of the season, I think there will be absolute uproar within the fan base and quite right.
I think there should be an uproar as well, to be honest. There should be. Because you're watching, right, who won the Europa League final, by the way? Did we win?
United won it.
That was supposed to
have
be
you seen what United have done? United are skint, and they've just spent 200 million and improving their whole front three. All of them. All front three. They've improved it all. And they didn't win that final. What are we doing? Like, honestly, we're supposed to be a top big six club. We're Tottenham Hotspur. We're not a small club. So we do need to do better than what we're doing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But as I say, I feel like there's no way they can get away with not actually spending that 60 million quid. And there's so many. We've come into it. Big up, Scott. Big up everyone that's new in here. Please make sure you're liking the video, subscribing to me, and also subscribing to the guests on the channel. All of their links will be in the description, and they're also in the chat as well. Yeah, as I say, it's just there's so many different views on what, and this is a great one, and I keep saying this one. Don't forget, this is the same club that got Brian Hill for Lamella and 20 million. And you can go, Rich, you can go further back than that. You can go, this is a club that signed Lamella for what was very good money at the time. We done exactly what Elijah says. We kept him and kept him and kept him until he was worth nothing. We basically gave him away for Brian Hill and gave them 20-25 million. And then what we've done with Brian Hill is basically keep him and keep him and keep him until he's worth absolutely nothing. So these are the examples that I use at this club. The other one is Gareth Bale. With Gareth Bale, we replaced him when we signed him on loan 7 years later from Real Madrid. These are the sorts of things that we have happened at this club. And this is why I think some of our fans are so worried about selling players and getting rid of players. And that's one of the reasons why we hold on to them, because we don't back what's going to come through the door. We don't believe that the players that are going to come through the door are what we need. And that's a massive problem when you're a fan, because not knowing what's going to happen. I think most clubs are kind of like, if we're going to go and sign a player, it'll improve us. But with us, we can never really know if that's the case. So, guys, we are going to wrap up in a short time. We've been going for an hour and a half. So, if there's any players that you want to chuck in the chat to see, and we'll throw them at the guys on the panel about whether we should be going for. The chat seemed to be, I'd probably say 75% want Grealish, but then there's others that are saying no to Grealish. I'd love to know who you think we should be signing if it's not Grealish. And we have to be realistic here, because I think Leao is going to be difficult. That's going to be a real difficult deal to do. Is he going to come to Spurs? Harry Kane will be replaced by a 38-year-old Harry Kane. That is it. You can already see that is happening. You can already see that Kane is definitely going to be signed. And then we'll make it as a massive marquee signing. 100 million %. We think the Goonies lost their head over the signing of Madueke. Can you imagine if we signed Jackson for 70? I'd book a ticket to someone right away and run the riots. That is it. We're not going to spend that, are we? Let's be honest. We ain't going to spend that. But maybe if it's a loan deal, we might be able to. This is the worst deal ever. The Lo Celso deal was absolutely crackers. How that worked out. And everyone was like, wow, we managed to get rid of him. We're going to get this player in who's top drawer and everything else. And then he goes and signs for someone else and we get absolutely nothing. That is really, really strange. Do you think you can get Rodrigo? Now, I'm going to guess that you're not being serious by the amount of laughing faces. I'm going to aim this one solely at Elijah.
No, because he's asked me the question, bro. That's why, bro.
That's why I'm asking. Man. That's why I'm asking you it, boy.
I'm just saying there was another North London club linked with them first, and they didn't get him in it. That man, you know what I'm saying? They used it to get Madueke. So I'm just saying the winger we signed versus the winger you signed.
That's a bit crazy.
I ain't gonna lie, man.
Using Rodrigo to get Madueke
I know, right? The starting left winger. Hey, Madueke is a starting left winger. That's all I'm saying, bro. I mean, I personally would take Richarlison over Madueke and left wing. I'm just saying. I'm personally just saying it.
I think he's agreeing. There's another player that constantly keeps coming up, guys. All of the time, I've seen this guy mentioned. Matoma from Brighton. What are your thoughts on Matoma? Would you all take him then instantly? Yeah, improves that team straight away.
Absolutely. How much would he cost though? How much would he cost?
200 million probably. It's Brighton.
It costs a lot because he actually teaches the player. I remember seeing this in a report. Because they got offered 75 million last January by Saudi for Matoma, and they turned it down because Matoma actually helps the new wingers that come in with their dribbling. He actually teaches them and helps them improve their dribbling. So he's almost like a player coach for them. So like the money that Matoma generates in terms of sales of wingers is actually worth more than the 75 mil that they got for Saudi. So they rejected that. So I wouldn't see Matoma leaving Brighton anytime soon, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but again, if the option's there, I'd have said the same thing for Kudus. I'd have said, well, there's no way we're signing him. I'd have said, well, obviously Morgan Gibbs White didn't go through, but I'd have said the same thing for him. So maybe there's a bit more to it. I think that London pool is a bit crazy. I think people, like we've seen it with Newcastle, they're getting turned left, right, and centre. People are turning them down. And the rumour is today that Sesko's actually taken a lesser wage at United. So not only did he say no to Newcastle, no to Champions League football, he also went, nah, I'm all right. I'd rather get paid less. Cheers. Like that's unbelievable. Newcastle were like, and listen, Newcastle may go on a bit of a crazy one and sign a load of players towards the end of the window, but the window that they've had, they are struggling. I think.
This is what I'm talking about, Luke. This is what I'm talking about. They're trying to sign the big players, but the big players want to go to the other teams. And what Newcastle are going to do is what we're going to do. We're going to buy the ones that are left over. And that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be the problem. Sesko and his 8 non-penalty goals will flop Newcastle lucked out there. I'm not saying whether he will or he won't, but when you're willing to put that down and a player's said, "Nah, I'm all right," that's just a little bit mad for me. I just think it's crazy that amount of players that have been turned down, and then you've got teams like Nottingham Forest who are turning around and saying, "Nah, we're a massive club. Spurs is a step down," and this, that, and the other. And it's like, man, Newcastle, what they've been doing over the last few years with the money that they've got, they're not a powerhouse. Like, they're not this huge club that everybody wants to sign for, quite clearly, because this transfer window, people are going, "No, we're actually all right, thanks." I thought the cup, I know it was a minor cup, but I thought the cup might change the destiny that they're on. I thought they might just kick on from here, and then all of a sudden, it's gone all a little bit odd. Obviously, guys, we have had a massive raise from the Spurs 5, so massive shout out to all of them. But every single person on this channel does have their own channel as well. So, guys, I'm going to come to each one of you to kind of give what would be possible new people in the chat your channels and what they can find and where you are and everything. So, Nige, we'll start with you, sir. Plug yourself.
My YouTube channel is Pure Coys TV. So I've just passed 1,000, which I thought I'd never get to. So chuff with that. I am on Twitter as well. Same. Well, I was actually on TNW Cleaning. That's my business. But get on and follow me on Twitter too. I'm also on TikTok. Pure Coys on there. So get following. I got a breakfast show on Saturday morning. We're going to do it tomorrow morning, but I got to be at work early. But get over and sub, guys.
Yeah, Nige is bringing all day content. You got the morning coffee club. You've got the lot, haven't you, Nige?
There's absolutely nothing to talk about.
The work rates like Archie Gray in an injury crisis. I love to see it. Elijah.
You want to see me argue with Catch Fam? Then come over to my channel, bro. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I can't lie. The streams are a bit kind of iffy because I'm just working random times. But hey, if you want, fun, I focus more on the entertainment rather than the football. If you couldn't tell, and if people in the chat couldn't tell, but we're not here to always be right. We're here to have a good time, and we're here to enjoy ourselves. This is the internet. Not really that serious. We just loving life. So if you just want to chill out, you know what I'm saying, and not feel like you have to always be right, you don't have to feel like you got to talk about Spurs all the time, come mess with the channel, fam. Too much of you.
As I said, guys, I have put everyone's channel in the chat on several occasions. The link will be in the description as well. Just go and click on that and make sure we're following everyone. I just want to make sure Catch is following all of the Spurs creators, because the amount of stuff we've been seeing in the chat today, this has been a bit crazy. I'm not going to lie. Make sure you're following everybody. And obviously, Spurs fans, make sure we're following absolutely everybody, because this is what we need. Everyone needs the support. When we're watching 22 defeats last year and getting walloped by Bayern today, we need a little bit of love, a little bit of support. So make sure you're doing it. Last but not least, Alan, plug your channel, my friend.
So you'll find me on YouTube, Tottenham Logic TV. I do daily videos every single day. I even do videos when we lose 22 times in a season. So you'll still find me. I don't hide away. I tried to find the logic in Tottenham, which is almost impossible. My name is Tottenham Logic, but it's not because I'm trying to be logical. It's because there's no logic in Tottenham whatsoever. So it's a bit of a pun. But yeah, so I'm quite active in the comments as well. So if you want to chat to me, I normally chat to most people that come in. So yeah, that's me. I'm on Twitter as well, or X, whatever you want to call it. I've only just started on there, so I'm quite small. But yeah, it's all good.
Well, guys, panel has been absolutely brilliant. Thank you all for coming in. Obviously, the chat been absolutely crazy. Still trying to keep up with some of the comments, the amount of comments that came flooding in, suggestions, everything else. Still Grealish not being a fan. Eugene, I can't make it up in my head, mate. I just can't. Listen, everyone's got their own opinions. Nobody's wrong in this game. There's far fewer facts in football than people will tell you. But Grealish to Spurs, for me, just absolutely has to happen. Guys, as I said, massive thank you. As I said, please make sure you're liking the video. Myself, It's virtually a brand new channel. I've only been around for a few months, so the support has been absolutely insane. We have managed to hit the partnership program, so memberships will be coming to the channel soon. Just got to finalize a few things, and then we will be then we'll be good to go live. Then we'll be back again next Thursday. We will obviously be discussing that big huge European game that's coming up. Obviously we'll be discussing loads and loads of transfers that are going to take place as well. We bloody hope, Grealish being one of them. But again, massive thank you to everybody. Thank you to the panel. Thank you to everyone that's been a part of the channel. And as always, come on, you Spurs.